I feel so free. So, welcome back to another episode of Healing to Femininity. Today, I want to dive into the topic of men, narcissism, social climbing, beautiful woman, manifestation, and all of the good stuff together, including my personal story. So I am officially declaring myself an exotical. I am loving the Exoticals United content and also the Exoticals Empath content. So if you don't know them, check them out. What Exoticals means, you will find it out on their channels. It is basically a woman in the range between a light caramel albino to dark black, but with like different features. Straight hair, narrow nose, like everything in the above, like some kind of exotic looking woman. And that's a personal or a specific life experience. And I agree. And I wanted to like just join the conversation that one of the girls like talked about, and it is the danger of social climbing, which means to use whatever you have, your beauty, most of the time, your beauty and your strategy to go up the ranks, the hierarchy of power and class and status to get to the final destination of making it to the top of society, being part of the high society, and the dangers of that. And one of the girls talked about it so beautifully, and that's a topic that we're all talking about currently. It is definitely the Diddy conversation and the Cassie conversation and the R. Kelly conversation and everything that he did with Aaliyah and all of the other girls and the Epstein story and so many other stories, Mariah Carey and Tony Mottola, like all of those stories are not new to us. And yet, and this is where my personal story comes in, and yet I personally had to first get very burned by men like this to realize, oh, that is a true collective story of beautiful women on their way to success. So I want to kind of like explain what like I am all about and what this social structure is about. So, right, on this one hand, we are in a time of a paradigm shift. This is what is happening. Like the Tower of Babel, the Matrix is falling, and many of us regular people, and we're all divine, right? There are no real regular people. That's what I believe. I believe that most people are like have the capacity to be amazing, to be divine if they unleash their authenticity, if they unleash their light that is like shadowed by conditioning, by societal conditioning, by trauma, by family conditioning, by gender conditioning, by all of the ways of the world that are not aligned with our true soul's light, blueprint, crystal, whatever you want to call it. I believe that we're all here on this planet as at this time for a reason. And at the same time, I can't free myself from, or I can't say that I was totally free from the influence of the world. No, I'm not. I am also part of the world, and it takes work. And that is literally what everybody means by inner work. Inner work is about unlearning, deconditioning all of the toxic mindsets, paradigms, behaviors you have learned from the world, whether it be from black, white, whatever, it actually really doesn't matter. But because we live in this hierarchical system that can be easily used as a yeah, just as a template for what it is that we have to do, right? So on this hierarchical structure, if we want to say that like literally like the black woman is that at the bottom, which I don't agree with. Absolutely not. But like the Black woman is at the bottom. We can also kind of say like Africa, right? Africa as the mother of humanity is at the bottom, and then like the white man is at the top, right? So, and this is in this hierarchical scale system, this is where all of the isms and schisms fit in, right? It's like classism, sexism, colorism, texturism, featureism, all of the isms and schisms, right? Everything is in that, and it's all based on a man-made structure of hierarchy of power. And this has been the biggest spell of all spells for a long time. And now most of the people on the planet were kind of born into this caste system, into this hierarchical system, and we believe it. Like subconsciously, we believe that I am supposed to be at the bottom as a Black woman. And like other people just have it so much more easy because they belong at the top. But no, that's this system, right? And on the other side here, I believe what is happening is a more it is called in the gene keys. If you know about the gene keys, I would highly recommend you to check out the gene keys. It's also a spiritual system, and there's a word, and it says like synarchy. Synarchy is not hierarchy, but it's also not like everyone is the same. Yes, on a soul level, everyone is the same. Like we all are equally made, right? Nobody is better than the next one. Yet everyone is born with specific gifts that authorize them or enables them to take a certain position in society. And I believe that inherently we all know that. Some people are just made for certain positions. Some people are just made for certain positions. For me, this is just the way nature works. Every tree has its place. Every plant has its place. Everyone has their place. Everything is equally important because that is what makes up the ecosystem, right? So it is, everything has its place, is divine, is valuable, perfect. Okay, so that's the same. I believe that this is where we're going, and we are now in the transition phase. So I made this big run around the topic, but I always want to give context, and it's all part of the context. But what I want to say here is that what the exotical empath said was that we as women, especially as exotical women, as beautiful women, as women who are seen like favored by men, because the world kind of projects it onto us, we then at some point in our life maybe get tempted to also take in, like inherit that, like take in this opportunity of taking the easier route, which is totally fine. I believe in beauty privilege, as Exoticals United always says. I believe in beauty privilege. I believe in keeping up your beauty privilege, not only for the privilege, but also because it's healthy, right? It has two benefits, like at the same time, right? It is healthy, it is good, and it gives you benefits to be beautiful, which is, I think, natural as well. Like it is part of the system, but it's also natural. People love beauty. Humans love beauty. So yes, right? We want to be as beautiful as we can. And yet the more dangerous part here is to start thinking that your beauty is the value, and that your beauty is more of like the only value, or even like the commodity or the thing that you can trade with. And this is what happens to girls who use their bodies, like who do sex work, who do stripping, but also who do modeling, right? We can use it all. And I'm not condemning, I'm not judging, but that's what's happening with so many women who use their body and their beauty for their success. And because we know that concept is real, we also, it's a very, very thin line between prostitution or a more elevated form of prostitution, but it's still prostitution, let's be honest, is like the escort girl thing, or becoming a trophy wife, right? Becoming a trophy wife and only and solely basing the relationship on being the catch for a man, being his arm candy and nothing else, will never make a woman happy. And this is what happened to so many women, including Cassie and the whole Diddy story. She was an exotical, she was a beautiful woman, and DG snatched her up. And I want to shed light on the woman. I want to shed light on Cassie, and not blaming her or shaming her or nothing like that, but a predator like Diddy, a predatory man, and that means men who prey, like who look and see and spot out vulnerable women who want, and this is what makes a woman very vulnerable. There are two types of women that I find, like there, number one, the women that are like obviously vulnerable, who don't have education or who don't have things going for themselves. They're poor but beautiful. And there's a whole conversation about that too, right? Poor but beautiful. And this is what also powerful men target. Not only powerful men, basically all men probably, but also powerful men target poor but beautiful women because they know those women have no clue, they're naive, and they need them. Like the poor girl needs the man for financial resources. But then there are women like me and you. And I'm going to expose myself here today. Like, I think that's a major difference between the other exoticals and me. Like, I have no problem to show my face because I actually want to give a face, and I am not ashamed because I'm evolving, right? So what I want to say is that women like me, and I see this as a complex. It's a complex, and that's exactly the kind of woman that I have studied because that's me, right? The kind of woman who also comes from some kind of childhood trauma, like I have like an abandonment trauma. My parents left me alone in Africa when I was 3, and then like everyday life happened. My dad was emotionally unavailable most of the time. My mom was working most of the time, right? I'm not bashing my parents, but many of us have a similar story. So we are here maybe with a wounded heart, not so much guidance, not so much protection. And then we are, and we don't even know, like this highly sought after thing, right? We are exotic. Black people like us, white people like us, like everybody thinks we're cute or beautiful. That's just a mixed experience or the exoticals experience, and that's true. And we're unprotected. So we go out and then we learn, like slowly, we learn our personal power. Many times we use that personal power for education, and we go higher and higher in our education. So, as I said, it's the second part of the group, right? This uneducated, poor, lower class, young, maybe young, beautiful woman is one. But then there's also like the educated, smart one, and the one even like me. I'm a certified life coach. I am a coach that helps other women build their dreams, right? So when you know you have a dream, right? You know that there is possibility. And when we dream big, which is most of the time associated to social climbing, because many times we associate success to being rich, like being in this glamorous, luxurious spaces. I love all of that. I have experienced all of that, right? I have experienced it all. And today I'm going to share a bit about that. So I just want to share that, like, that's part of a dream. It is, but it's an illusion. It is an illusion, and that's the difference between a dream and an illusion. And that's such a beautiful, like, nuance here that I have really dived deep into this year. Shout out to the Spiritualized Collective, right? So it is about dreaming, and it's about fantasizing. Again, it's a difference, but fantasizing about this beautiful dream life. But the most beautiful life, just to to kind of make a shortcut. The most beautiful life is staying authentic and showing up as your real self and knowing that you're worthy, no matter how you look like, and staying in integrity with yourself, right? But what is happening most of the time is that we want this glamorous life. We want the money, the cars, the clothes, and all of that. And many times it comes with a man, with predatory men, and with disgusting men. The older men, right? This is the whole hypergamy conversation. No, I don't want it. I tried it as well. Like I tried to date older men, but it wasn't for me. I couldn't do it. Like I actually do have healthy men in my life. So no, I couldn't do it. I was flown out by an older man, a work colleague, actually. But no, I I wasn't down for it. And like many more stories like that. And I dated this millionaire. And this is why I know, like firsthand experience, even though it didn't get so far like Diddy and Cassie, but that's where I'm saying like I know it because I have experienced it. A girl like me, a woman like me, educated, smart, has her own thing going on, but still there's always room for improvement, right? We romanticize men. And there is a beautiful part in the book called Woman Who Runs with the Wolves, and the story is called Bluebeard. Read that book, read that book, read that passage especially. It's exactly about that. It's about how women, some women tend to stay naive throughout their whole life. They never learn what we're talking about here is that, yeah, what we have believed about men is not true. Like, especially the men that portray themselves as the powerful providers. No, they're really the most dangerous most of the time, the most dangerous predators. So what I want to come back to is that a woman like me, a woman like you, a woman with a bit with even thinking, and that's the thing where the ego comes in, like thinking you're smart, thinking you're sophisticated and cultured, and thinking that you are worthy to, of course, be desired by a quote unquote high value man, by a millionaire, by a celebrity, by a chef, star athlete, or musician, or like, right? Like all of that. You think you are the right fit. So you don't really doubt those men coming into your life. But one thing that I experienced was this millionaire guy, like he definitely like that was his way. I mean, I know, like we all fall into the trap one time, at least, let's be honest. If you have fell into the trap, comment down below. I know it's so vulnerable to share that on the internet, but I don't care. I mean, all of us we're sharing, but I'm going to show my face because I know that so many other women, like it's so obvious. I mean, we see it now. We see Cassie and all them other girls like experiencing those things, and I'm happy that I like escaped and nothing really happened. But what I want to say is that wanting, that's the key of the story, like wanting to experience this glamorized version of love, and also wanting to experience the like hypergamous life, being flown out to Paris, to Greece, dating musicians, dating stars, millionaires, all of these things, it somehow resonates with your self-identity. Even that it somehow resonates with your self-identity, and you think, yeah, it's part of the lifestyle, but it's not, because you feel it. You feel that it will at some point compromise your integrity, your innocence. And that's really what it's about. This is something that I have really realized. And also shout out to Exotical Empath. Most women like us, we are very like highly intuitive. And I believe actually that most women are like that, right? I don't even necessarily believe in the word empath, because I think almost all women are that in a healed way. If you're healed, if you're back to your open heart, because that's what it is. Trauma is literally covering your heart with levels of self-protection. This is where the ego hardens, that can, like in its most serious form, that is a narcissism, right? But in so many other like weaker layers, it is just personal blocks, personal traumas that make you cold and not feeling. So that is what will shut you off from being highly sensitive. But if you remain pure, if you do your inner work, if you are naturally a spiritual person that believes in a higher power or whatever, like you will continue to stay connected to your open heart. And that in my perspective means that you are an empath, that you feel, you're highly sensitive. And I think a healed woman is an empath. Um, so what I want to say is that being a woman with high aspirations is it's a very narrow path to be tempted. And that's what it's about. It's a very narrow path if you don't stay rooted and connected to your self-worth, but also to trust and faith in life. And that everything that belongs to you will come to you. Like you don't have to go out into the hustle and bustle and also into the high spaces of high society. You don't. If you don't feel like it, you don't have to go there to then be found by the temptation. The temptation can be an alluring job that actually is not in alignment with your integrity. The temptation can be an alluring man who looks like everything and more. He has the status, he has the power, he has the money, but you feel there is no connection, there is no love, there is no safety, but you will compromise it just because it is tempting. And this is exactly what happened to Cassie. And this is what happened to so many other women with big dreams. And so this is what I want to shed light on. And to go even deeper today, like yesterday, not yesterday or not today, this year, I had my breakthrough. I had my personal breakthrough because, and again, I think this goes with the archetype of woman that I am, and maybe also you are, and other exoticals are, and other pretty women are, and other high achieving women are. Many times we tend to be lone wolves. We tend to be Sigma women. We tend to be alone. And I want to break this narrative, and I want to break this conversation as well because I hear it a lot on social media, like the chosen ones, and like that everybody is jealous of us and that people are attacking us spiritually. Yes, it is true. And yes, on the other side, there are also other saved women. There are also other friends. There are other women who are it's on the same level. There are other women like that. So I don't believe in, I think it's a little bit of a fear mongering. And I actually think a woman that isolates herself so much so that she doesn't talk to anyone, that she doesn't trust anyone, I think that kind of woman is even more prone to fall victim to those predatory men because now you don't have a tribe, you don't have friends, you don't get the validation, the love from other people. It can't even be kids, right? It can be kids, your nephews, your nieces. It can be friends, like all of that. Like that still exists. But if you're only by yourself because you feel like everybody is intimidated by you or threatened by you and is sending you jealousy and curses and hexes, which again can be true, absolutely. I have experienced things like that as well. But at the same time, I believe that if you are isolating yourself so much so, you're more prone to fall victim to a man because at one point you will feel lonely and then you have no one else to turn to but this man that is making like you fall in love with him, or not even that. You think, okay, like that sounds like a secure place. He has money. I'm going to be with him. It's going to up my status because many times, and this is also what the exotical empath said, is that many times that when you are so isolated, and like we are living in a highly egotistical society already right now. Like everybody is living the self-care life, me too, but I think we really have to see those things in nuances, because it can really create a life of full isolation. If you think everybody is jealous of you, we're already in a very highly egotistical society, then you think everything should be answered with self-care instead of relationship building, right? I think that makes you very vulnerable to everything, including capitalism, which is the ultimate predator. But that's really like, that's also something that I want to just shed some light on. Like the predator man is the embodiment of what I just explained here, of the hierarchy, right? And if you think you want to get to the top of the hierarchy, this is the rich, masculine, alpha, powerful men is the embodiment of capitalism. And capitalism, if it's not conscious, because I love money and I believe in the energy exchange of money, but capitalism in itself is exploitation. And this man, like the predatory men, they are the embodiment of capitalism, right? And then you fall in love with the bling bling, with the glamour, with the shiny object, with the distraction, right? You with temptation, right? You fall in love with those things, and then you're in the trap. You're in the trap, you get exploited of your sexuality, you get exploited of your energy, you get exploited, like your dignity is broken, all of those things. And this applies not only to men, but to all of the opportunities that look glamorous and fancy, but you will always have to pay. I always like to say, everything in this life has a price. What is it costing you to whatever, fill in the blank? What is it costing you to want to get to the top of the hierarchy, right? What is it costing you? Because I believe, again, to put it all in perspective, I believe if you are a woman, a beautiful woman, you are already programmed to know that you have something going on for yourself, then it can easily be manipulated into you focusing too much on your beauty, making it a commodity, selling it. And most of the time, selling your body, most of the time, comes with a trade-off of dignity. I think women are free to show their bodies and to do whatever they want. I also like to dress sexy sometimes, but I think that there's a deep-rooted indoctrination, and it goes hand in hand with exploitation, and it goes hand in hand with actually becoming numb. Like you're becoming numb, numb, shutting off your feelings, shutting off your intuition, shutting off your divine gift of empathy and really feeling. You're shutting this down to survive in the matrix, to survive in the hierarchy, to survive in capitalism. And then you think that a man of status who promises you to be the fulfillment of your dreams, because you're still open, you're still naive, you still dream, right? You are going to connect with that person, you're going to be exploited. So I hope that I really got my point across, but I wanted to touch on many different points. And what I want to come down to is that me personally, I had to meet my own shadow, which was a narcissistic, power striving man. I had to meet him face to face in order to realize, oof, and now here comes the real plot. I had to realize that it wasn't me too. And I believe that many women who claim to have been abused by a narcissist, you are a narcissist too. Because I had to come to real terms with myself and realize I wanted to exploit him too. A part of me wanted to exploit him too. A part of me wanted to use him for financial gains. A part of me wanted to use him for status. A part of me wanted to use him to fill up the void in my soul, which is actually only calling for pure, innocent love. So, what I had to realize for myself, instead of blaming the men, right, who are to blame as well, but instead of blaming those powerful, beautiful, high value men, whatever we want to call it, instead of blaming them being narcissistic and predators, I realize that I am a predator too. I realize that I have narcissistic tendencies here too. I realize that I wanted to exploit him such as he wanted to exploit me. And this is where we come down to, most of the time, people who come together in those very toxic dynamics have a similar core wound. And many times for most of us, there are just a few like deep core wounds. It's abandonment, betrayal, neglect. We have a broken heart. Let's just say that. We all have a broken heart because this life is crazy. And if we don't come back, if we don't train our consciousness and see the life that we attract as a mirror, and then really tune in with our heart and see that, is that really what I want, or is it just what I think? It is just a shiny object. Is it a accessory? Is it a status symbol that was portrayed as valuable by society, the hierarchy, capitalism, or is it something that is my true heart's desire, that is my true, authentic, innocent, pure dream of my heart? And this is what I want to end with. I believe that beautiful, smart, talented women, if you haven't come to the point that I had to come to, you are in danger, because still there's a corner of your mind that makes you believe that you deserve to be with a man like that. So you will gravitate toward a man like that, only to find out he will exploit you, but you also have the intention to exploit him. So ladies, I invite you to tap into your own personal power, because you are divine. You are divine and you are powerful beyond measure. And it is true. And now I know what it means, because we as women, we have so much dark power, dark, primal, predatory energy. But when we infuse it with love and with consciousness, that makes us a very potent, powerful goddess. So I want to call you in again to work on yourself and to become aware, what lack, what void are you trying to fill with that glamour lifestyle, with the man and all of that? Because if you really want that, because it's still beautiful, it's still beautiful. But if you really want that, you can get that too, because you have the same power like the man that you're seeking. It is in you. Okay, so that's it for now. I hope to see you in the comments. Let me know what you think. And I think I'm going to go into that topic more often. I think there's still so much more to explore here. And I would love to hear from you. And I see you soon, latest in the next episode. But until then, stay dangerous. Bye-bye.